Hey, so it's the last couple of days of summer. I still think of summer as coming to a close Labor Day, which is next weekend. Waning days of summer, you're saying, I've got nothing to do this weekend. What am I going to do this weekend? If you're near me, if you're anywhere in the Northeast Corridor, why not go to Parks Casino? Tonight and tomorrow, comedian Joe Coy. Thursday, September 1st, Joe Hand Fight Night. That sounds awesome. Comedian Dimitri Martin is coming up in September. Australian Pink Floyd, which everybody says is awesome. Blues Traveler, Jay Leno. All headliners at the Parks Casino, which is right in Bucks County, 90 minutes from New York, the number one casino in Pennsylvania. Concerts, dining, action, excitement, gambling, all under one roof. Visit parkscasino.com for all the details. Got to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. I can't wait to share the details. I'll be doing it next week as to why I'm asking everybody to save the date, Friday, October 7. I think I can say it's the unconvention. Now that I think about it, I mean, the save the date notice in my social media says it's the unconvention.
You can say that.
All right. Well, there's a little clue.
Sounds unconventional.
It's very unconventional. So whatever the unconvention might be, I would like you to be in Philadelphia with my colleague Steve Scully on Friday, October 7th. Friday, October 7th, the unconvention. What is it? I promise I will tell you next week. We're just, getting everything ironed out. Want to make sure that we can properly launch and that when we do, we will be ready to receive your acceptance if we should be so fortunate. Yesterday, poll results from Smerconish.com, 12,849. Which political party benefits more from student loan forgiveness, Republicans or Democrats? Decisive. I don't know if it's the right answer. 73.86% said the D's benefit from student loan forgiveness. Coverage today in the newsletter from the Washington Post. Biden student loan action ignites instant political battle. One paragraph I'll share with you. It touches on volatile issues of education and class, with conservatives saying it will force blue-collar taxpayers to subsidize elite college students, and black and liberal leaders saying it will provide critical relief to people who are struggling, and it quickly spurred debates on fairness, including among those who had foregone an expensive college to avoid burdensome debt, only to now see the government help those who attended costly schools. Wherein lies the passion? That is the question. There's something else as I've been reading in about this, and I'm preparing a commentary that I'll deliver unless there's other news that breaks today on CNN tomorrow. And I first saw this in Axios. I guess naively believed that the government has all this data. Left hand, right hand, the government loosely described can know, whether someone is earning less than $125,000 per year based on their tax return. But I should not have made that assumption. According to Axios, the Education Department doesn't have income data for most of the 43 million Americans eligible for forgiveness. That means 35 million people, including Pell Grant recipients, will have to attest that they make less than the $125K per year to apply. See, here's the line that I've written for potential CNN delivery tomorrow.
Go ahead, lay it on
After I
me.
explain that, here's what I wrote.
Go ahead.
That could generate a cluster akin to the computer rollout of Obamacare and the fraud that took place with PPP loans.
Cluster is what you're going with?
Like,
you think people will get
it? You put together the PPP fiasco, because that's what it was. I'm not talking about forgiveness of celebrities. I'm talking about blatant ripoffs that they don't have enough people to go out and police and collect the money, which ought to be the priority. So it's like that combined with, you remember the website rollout of Obamacare?
I remember that, and I remember you keeping us all posted along the way because you were legitimately trying to get health care for you and your family.
Took me 2 weeks.
Right.
Took me 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was an issue.
Today's poll question, I love this one. I know this is going to be a bigger and bigger issue, and I feel like we're on the vanguard of it. The LA Times put it on my radar screen. Should people who work remotely earn less than those who work the same job in the office? Okay, so think of it this way. It's apples to apples. She or he is doing exactly what you do from home, but you're in the office. Should they make less? Why do I raise this? Working from home during the pandemic became a surprising success. Many workers enjoyed a better quality of life, plus savings on commuting, office wardrobe, and other expenses. Companies boosted productivity. They lowered costs. Now, as remote work looks likely to survive in some form for the foreseeable future, a battle is starting to brew over who should pocket those savings, with some employers arguing that working from home is a benefit and it ought to be offset by a lower salary. It hasn't really taken hold yet here in the United States, but by way of example, in Britain, there's a large law firm that recently announced that employees could work from home full-time on the condition they take what do you think the percentage cut would be? What's the appropriate cut, if any? 20. Sure, you can work from home. You're going to earn 20% less than those who work in the office.
Significant.
Hey, I mean, like,
that's a significant cut.
You and I yesterday were in the chairman's office.
We were in the chairman's office.
Eric X, which is a spectacular corporate office, 4-story environment, Pelotons.
I got to say, the intern
dining,
is sort of made good.
Well,
how did that happen?
High-tech conference room where we were having a business meeting.
One of many.
Right?
Right.
So, but, Eric X, big employer, he and his firm, moved into this business in the midst of the pandemic.
Right. Crazy.
And when I said, okay, so what's the work environment going to be come Labor Day? They're sorting it out.
Yep.
A lot of these employers are still sorting it out. And Eric X is looking for the TC, he's looking for the young talent that comes from being in an environment like that.
Right. And he's big on mentorship and being able to touch base with people. It's interesting, sort of, do the guys that are in charge, the women that are in charge, want to be in the office, or do they just want the younger people to be in the office? Do they want everybody to be in the office?
What if Eric X said, if you want to work from home, fine, but you're going to make 20% less. We want you in here, otherwise 20% less.
I mean, I think they can do whatever they want. That's the first thing I think. I'm old-fashioned. I want people back in the office. That's how I feel. Very different from my sister.
Big business meeting there yesterday. Big business meeting there.
We had a merch meeting.
A lot of decisions being made.
It was very organized and very thorough.
I'll say spreadsheets.
Why are you laughing? That's a good thing.
It was just funny. It's just really. I mean, I'm a one-arm paper hanger here. I'm a 1.5-arm paper hanger here.
I get the half.
And
okay.
and we're used to making decisions on the fly. We're not used to making decisions based on logic and data.
Well, it's funny because I said to Eric that the most telling part of yesterday's meeting was when he started with the spreadsheets and we're sort of passing around the conference table.
Yes.
And the two of us, you and I, looked at each other.
Spreadsheets on things like dog chews.
You and I looked at each other and cracked up.
Right.
And we weren't making fun of him. We were making fun of ourselves. Like, that's not the way it usually
we were
rolls
laughing
around here.
with him. Yes, exactly.
But what's funny on social media? So you posted a very mysterious picture of the merch meeting on both Facebook and Instagram. And what's getting the most attention? Not the merch, your sport coats.
Well, maybe we will release a sport coat.
I was there yesterday and didn't notice that the two of you had very, very close patterned sport coats.
Mm-hmm. Appropriate for August on a humid day.
Oh my.
I
also think it's funny that you call it a dog chew. It's a dog toy.
Not in my house.
That's what's so funny.
In my house, they last about 10 seconds. There's never been a dog toy that hasn't been decimated in my house, which is why I'm a little reluctant, but Eric seems to think that it's a good
Okay, so in our house,
fit.
We have this huge basket.
As do we, and they're all destroyed.
No, they're all perfect. And she just chooses the one she wants,
and
she runs around the house, and she totally loves it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Our dogs go bonkers.
Together? Like it's like
they'll wrestle.
That's what I wondered. If it was like a mob mentality.
A squeaker in our house has never lasted more than 2 minutes.
I'm floored by this.
Never.
By the way, it does have a squeaker.
Yes, but the squeakers never last. They never last.
It was a very interesting merch meeting.
When there's merch coming, ladies and gentlemen.
And if you want to get a glimpse at it.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that
although
people
this was just to like sample and scan.
Are you going to say the E word?
What is the E word?
Exemplar.
Oh, yeah.
We have that word.
We have some exemplars.
Samples, ladies and gentlemen.
Of, mugs and shirts and shoes and other. Just go look at the picture on Instagram or on Facebook.
People also like the angle that picture was taken because so much of the merch is the back of your head, and it went from the back of your head to the merch. So it's like life imitating
you love
art.
that picture because you got to flash your choppers.
Hey, they wanted the back of your head, and no one wanted to, Eric
no one
X
wanted
has
to see
be
my front.
Mysterioso.
Right.
So I got you. I got you.
All right, let's just reverse that. They want to see the back of my head and your front.
So they don't want to see.
If we gave them the reverse. Ladies and gentlemen, the president's approval has risen to 44%. It's like whiplash. He had the lowest for an elected president in July. As of July, President Biden was at 38%. This is according to Gallup. So this is not like some fly-by-night operation. Now he's at 44%, his highest of the year. Yesterday in Rockville, Maryland, appearing at an event, kind of the kickoff, I guess, of the Biden you will see for the midterm election. He said, you've got to choose. Are we going to be a country that moves forward, a country that moves backward, yada, yada, yada. Then he says, what we're seeing now is either the beginning or the death knell of an extreme MAGA philosophy. It's not just Trump. It's the entire philosophy that underpins I'm going to say something. It's like semi-fascism. I respect conservative Republicans. I don't respect these MAGA Republicans. Is that going to be, a deplorable moment for him to equate MAGA Republicans with semi-fascists? And similarly, Charlie Crist, just having won the Democratic nod to face Republican Ron DeSantis in Florida, drawing some attention for saying those who support the governor, meaning DeSantis, should stay with him. I don't want your vote. If you have that hate in your heart, keep it there. Further to my way of thinking that no longer are campaigns about persuasion, right? Nobody's seeking to persuade somebody from the other side to come on over. It's all about rallying the base. Okay, I thought this was really interesting. Mark Zuckerberg had a sit down with Joe Rogan, admitted that Facebook made a mistake over its decision to ban sharing of the New York Post's exclusive report on Hunter Biden's laptop ahead of the 2020 election. Rogan's question: when something like that turns out to be real, is there regret for not having it evenly distributed and for throttling the distribution of that story? Zuckerberg: yeah, it sucks. It turned out after the fact checkers look into it. No one was able to say it was false. I think it sucks, though, in the same way that probably having to go through a criminal trial but being proven innocent in the end sucks. He said the platform opted to limit sharing of the story but not halt it entirely after the FBI told Meta employees needed to be wary of Russian propaganda. Ahead of the election, more than 50 other senior intel officials signed on to a letter that claimed the laptop story has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. So I guess he was trying to distinguish himself from Twitter, which outright just stopped the dissemination, the distribution of that laptop story. Good piece at Smerconish.com today from David Eisner from The Hill. Former Assistant Secretary for Management of the U.S. Treasury, had significant responsibilities over the IRS. I made a comment a moment ago about PPP fraud, and I've said that they ought to be taking some of the effort, some of the resources that they're about to give to the IRS for auditing and making sure people are paying their fair share, and go after the people who are given PPP funds. Well, in this piece in The Hill, this paragraph caught my eye. During the next several years, the IRS will hire 87,000 new employees, but based on its aging workforce, it is forecasted to lose nearly 50,000. So net, it will hire approximately 37,000 new employees. Nobody else had said that, or if they'd said it, it had gotten past me. Love this story, which came from the Denver media outlets. It requires context. Kids go back to school in a particular, it was the Denver South High School. They go to the Denver South High School, and they're all shown a video. And the video is, the subject is what to do if you witness a racist or transphobic attack. And TC, they had, what, 6 tips in the
They had
video?
6 tips in the video about what to do. The first ones were like, be an ally, look the victim in the eye, don't turn away, things like that.
Right. And this was something, this video was produced by the Barnard Center for Research on Women, based in New York City. One of the 6 tips, again, what are you supposed to do? Hey, students, we're starting a new school year. We all want to be, attentive and protective of one another. What do you do if you see a racist or transphobic attack? And one of the tips, can you play it, was this.
Armed police presence often escalates rather than reduces the risk of violence in a situation. Because police have been trained to see people of color, gender nonconforming folks, and Muslims as criminals, they often treat victims as perpetrators of violence. So if the victim hasn't asked you to call the police, do not, I repeat, do not call the police.
It's pretty wild, right? Like, you see a racist or transphobic attack, don't call the police.
If the victim doesn't want you to.
Unless but if the attack is going on, as I said earlier to you, if the attack is going on, I'm like, well, I'm going to wait till it ends, and then I'm going to call 911. Parents are questioning why Denver South High School showed a video to the student body on Tuesday offering tips about ways to respond to racist attacks. Part of the video encourages people to not call the police for help. I was interested to see the composition of this particular school. 1,763 students, 47.2% white, 32.3% Hispanic, only 9.4% black, 4.9% Asian, 0.9% American Indian or Alaska Native, 0.1% Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Isles. And another, just interesting in the return to school category, Noah Schnapp, better known as Will Byers on Stranger Things, is going to be a Penn undergrad.
I got to go living in the walkabout.
I guess living in the quad.
That's amazing.
Because if you're a freshman at Penn, you live in the quad.
But good for him. I love that. He's having his real college experience.
So I said this. Right? I said this to one of mine who has some connection to the school. And his response to me was, I'm surprised he's coming to Penn for acting. And I said, no.
He's not.
He's coming to Wharton. He is coming to Wharton.
He's got the acting thing done. He doesn't need help with that.
Yeah. And I also like the story about the federal judge in Ohio who said it was unconstitutional for a university in Ohio to virtually scan the bedroom.
I thought that was routine.
Of a chemist. Well, it is routine. I mean,
so
I'm sure. Did Emma have to do this, or was she beyond it?
She was beyond it. She graduated in 2019.
This has absolutely. If Emma today were to say, I want to go to law school, and she's going to take the LSAT, trust me, somebody's or the GRE, because one of ours just had this experience. You're going to sit down to take a remote test.
Yeah, tell me, how does it work?
You're going to sit down to take a remote test. You're going to speak to a live person, and the live person says, "Okay, show me the room." And you're like doing this.
But wait a minute.
What's over there?
But what does that prove? Someone could be hiding under the bed with a dictionary.
Well, it's unconstitutional, according to a federal judge. The right to privacy of the student Aaron Ogletree outweighed the interests of Cleveland State University ruled Judge Philip Calabrese of the U.S. District Court of Northern District in Ohio. The judge ordered lawyers for Mr. Ogletree and the university to discuss potential remedies. The use of virtual software to remotely monitor test takers exploded during the first years of the coronavirus pandemic, when millions of students were suddenly required to take classes online to minimize the spread of disease.
Wow.
Remember the story of the guy who punted the ball 82 yards.
He's a new guy.
Yeah, he's a rookie phenom.
Yes.
This is plays for the Buffalo Bills,
Yes.
came from San Diego State University.
Yep.
Lawsuit has now been filed against 3 current and former San Diego State University football players alleging they gang raped a 17-year-old at an off-campus party in October of 2021. It includes the punter Matt Araiza, I think is the pronunciation of his name. His lawyer says that the whole thing is a cash grab. You know, I don't know much more than
the details are hideous. Let's just say that the details are hideous. If the alleged details,
I mean, I must say they're not,
and no one should ever drink. I'm just putting it out there. It's not saying that
it's not a story we've
if you're
we've
drunk,
never
you should
heard
get
before.
raped. I'm just saying, don't drink.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, but it's not a story we've never heard before. We've heard the story before.
Oof.
You know, it's sadly, I should say. Finally, exclusive content at Smerconish.com.
Yes,
also in the school realm, Pedro Vega writes for Smerconish.com exclusively, the bubble at the high school level. He's a high school social studies teacher from New York, always has appreciated the articulate discussions of his students, but in recent years he has noticed that they've become more reluctant to openly share and discuss their views on politics. It's not that they don't have opinions, he explains. They are simply afraid of being ostracized in front of others, fearing being called racist, intolerant, fascist, or woke. Hadn't thought about it. Love that essay at Smerconish.com. Are kids being stifled because they don't want to be called out in the climate in which we're living? Thank you so much for listening all week long. Listen to TC After Dark, the podcast, this weekend, which is when I get caught up on TC After Dark. And also tomorrow, hope to see you YouTube Live at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time and then 9 a.m. on CNN. Have a wonderful, safe weekend. Next week, all the details of the Unconvention. Circle the date, Friday, October 7. I want you to come to Philadelphia. See ya.